Oh, yes, I'm live here, 7 o'clock, East Coast, Sunday evening. So I wanted to get the. Let me put this other light on. Hold on. All right, so I wanted to get done the German movement tonight, and I'll probably do the combat tomorrow. Let me just adjust this. I'm in the Sleepy J World headquarters. Um, yeah. What do, what do we want? What do we want this focusing on? Got the screaming eagle up on my wall over there, which would be really damn appropriate. Okay, I like it. I like that. So anyways, yeah, German. Let's get this going right here. Yeah. You know what? Should I put my I want to put my overhead fan on. One moment. Your call is important to us. All right, we'll just leave it like that. The overhead fan. It's pretty humid here in the 978 tonight. Okay, so all right, let's go ahead and get this going. So it's the initial phase of turn 2, June 7th. Let's go ahead. I think we're going to roll for weather right off the bat. There you go. There's Con. There's the Commonwealth beaches to the north. And I actually increased the size of the map so it would look a little bit bigger on YouTube. So we're going to go ahead and roll for weather. All right, here we go. It's going to be overcast. We don't know if it's going to be 2 or 3, but it's going to go overcast. All right, let's go ahead and just roll this. One die. Did I just roll a 4? Indeed, I did. I did roll a 4. Um, one place to rather on the two spaces. So it's weather. It's weather 3. It's overcast 3 because I rolled a 4. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and turn over the Brit naval support markers. Flip. Let's go ahead and flip over the American naval support markers. Flip. Mulberry, no. Both players. Wait a minute. We have Avalanche. We control Ava, so don't we put on like the +5 turns from here for having Avalanche? Avalanche. Let's read shit on mulberries real quick. I think that's the case, but if I could get to the index real quick, mulberries. Uh, 5-3-21-1. All right, let's go to 21-1. Five turns, and there's no German adjacent, so that's the key to it. There's no German adjacent to our ranch, and that is the case. So we're gonna put this up for turn 7, I guess. Where is the mulberry thing? One moment. Uh, Charts units, British units, mulberry. Is that something that I can get? Oh, BR. There it is. Orange. So let's move the turn. German here. So we'll make that, it's 5 turns, right? June 7th. Put it right here. Building. All right. I imagine that's correct. And it's 5 turns. Yeah, turn 7. Okay, so that's all right. Fair enough. Let's move on. Supply points. Let's do some supply points. But let's both are going to get supply points. The Americans get one, the Brits get one, and all right, let's go over to here and see what the Germans get. Germans get, it's overcast 3. They're going to get 2 supply points. All right. And we'll do, oh, there's that bug I'm trying to kill flying around me. 1 for 7th Army goes back to 5, and we'll do Cherbourg is going to go to 4. That's probably where as high as they're going to get. Yeah, there's this little bug I'm trying to kill. It's flying around. I don't want to get it. Want it to get into the guinea pig cage. You guys all right? All right. Anyways, so and both players receive supply points replacements, which they must record on the general records track. Flip over all and supply HQs. Okay. There's an HQ that needs to be flipped over for the Germans right here. This one, this guy right here. Flip to ready side, and I think that's the only one because this guy only over here he only moved 1 hex, so he's fine. This one right here, what the 0 means, I have no idea, bro. I don't even know what that means. Does this guy have it as well? Yeah, he has a 0. Who the hell knows? I'm gonna have to investigate that a little more. All right. All right, so flip over where for brigades to the red. German player tames. So we're gonna get our replacements, and let's talk about replacements right now for the Germans. Right now, they're going to get Germans get an infantry replacement. Okay, and the infantry replacement. Okay, so it could be a regular one. It's not a 0 or a -1. Their replacement can be normal. Let's see where we can put them. Let's start way over here and look for who needs an infantry replacement. Okay, well, right here, this guy needs an infantry replacement, but he's disrupted. The question is, can you take a replacement when you're disrupted? That's a damn good question. I don't know the answer to it right now, so obviously we're going to kick it to disruption. I don't think he can. They may not receive replacements. Okay, that was easy to find. Things sometimes aren't easy to find, and that was very easy to find. Okay, so I'd love to put him right here to build him back up, but unfortunately I can't. He's disrupted too. I don't think he's infantry, so let's look for an infantry unit that needs a replacement that's not disrupted. Over here, no, he's disrupted. Who needs an infantry replacement? Shit. You know what? I got a feeling that what do we have in cadre box? All right, let's see what we can we bring something out of the box? I need to look at this. Shit. Wait a minute, let me look over here. We might have to bring something out of the box. Must be used on a 0. Must be used on a okay, I could use him on the 0. Actually, I could use him on anything, but we would take the 0 from the 352nd. Let's read about that. Replacements. Replacements. So we don't have anything that's missing a step, so we got to take something out of the cadre. In general, one replacement prototype that can restore a replacement units come out of the dead pile kind of must be placed in a hex with a friendly HQ of the same nationality. Okay. Within 5 hexes of another unit in a hex with a friendly HQ. Okay, hold up. Let's take him out of here. Close that box. And let's get down into the map area. Go to this, over to the right over here. Okay, 84th. 84th. Is he within 5 hexes of another unit? Yeah, damn sure. Yeah, within 3 actually. In a hex with a okay, in a hex with a friendly HQ of the same nationality. Okay, and you blah 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 blah. Or in a town or a city hex that is friendly controlled and in supply. How about Bayou? Right? I need to put somebody there. Let me read it. Or in a town or a city hex that is friendly controlled and in supply. Bayou would definitely match that criteria. Within 5, and you have to be within 5 hexes of another unit. Where how about adjacent to? If there are no units on the map that are from there, all that blah 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 blah. All right, let's go ahead and drop his ass off right here. All right, so he's going to be a replacement. Give him the marker replacement. Good. We needed to get someone in Bayou, and that worked out perfect. Is that the only replacement that you get? Let's look at the track. And for Overcast 3, that is the case. That is the case. All right, that's cool. Cool in the gang. All right, moving right along. See if anybody's watching. 2 people actually. Cool. Solid. All right. Anyways, let's go ahead and get back to our program. German replacement is done, so let's pull out all the reinforcements and get them ready. And they have quite a few reinforcements, mainly 12th SS markers units. How about the German units? No. Setup cards. Wait a minute. Units. Okay, setup cards, German reinforcements. So they got June, turn 2, June 7th. They got all this shit right here. I'll just get it right here. All right, and they come in on the red. Let's move them down. They come in on the red, which, okay, there's the first, the second, the third, the fourth. Okay, so let's get them unhooked, so to speak. One here, one here, one here, one here, one here. Well, all of the shit they get? Yeah, they do. And they all come in from the red. No, actually, these ones come in from the blue, which is up here. So let's get them up here. Top right, I think. Why aren't you moving? They come up top right, I believe. Yeah, so let's just get them into this area. 346 Division. I'm just going to drop them off over here. Drop them off here and here, so we'll check those out later. But everybody, we want to see the 12th SS, see what we can do. So we're going to probably do strategic movement on these guys. But the question is, look at this. This is a powerful force right here. 5 solid units. Let's look at the big picture. Where do you want them to go before we move shit? I'm going to move. Actually, I'm not going to touch the resolution right now. Where do you want them to go? All right, 21st can deal with these paras. I feel like they're doing a good job on these paras. So we want to go to the west of Con. Yeah, because you got these 2 stacks busting out right here. So let's see if we can strat move our asses all the way over there. let's put some guys on Lizo, whatever the hell it is, and you can stack two of these, right? I believe you can stack two of these. Let's go to stacking. Now we're just going to easy shit. If I have to, 2 points, so it's 4 stacking points, and it's 3 or more. Okay, let's get into Lizo and just friggin' all right, we're gonna bring in the big guns right here. We're gonna put these two right here. That's your 2. And let's bring in, we'll put him on him. We'll bring in him from over here. And then this character will come in from right here. Now what you actually could have done, you could put this guy. Now let's do that. Let's take him up here, and we'll stack these 3 because the silhouette is going to be extra. I like that. All right, let's go that route. All right, now let's check out strat movement real quick. Like strat movement. I don't want to screw this up. Movement, where's strat movement? Strat 9.8. Mech units can use strategic movement. Is not available to non-mechanized. Okay, use blah 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 blah. May start stack with may not start there moving an Ezok or enter an Ezok. May not end their move stack with any other. Oh, that's important. May not end their move stack with any unit. Okay. Big sneeze. Excuse me. Okay, so you can't be stacked on strat move. Okay, so what is it? Double? Unit starts its next adjacent to an enemy unit. Alright. There's a lot of shit for strat move, man. And you can't use it on the first turn 1, which it's not turn 1, it's turn 2. The number of June 7th, the number of units that may... Alright. So, how many do we have? The number of units is strictly limited to the number of S available to each side. 3 for the German player, they say. Okay. Now, how do you actually get these? Let me go to charts. No, that's not it. Cadre box, is it there? No. Setup cards. No. Can I just click on the unit and it will go strat movement? That's a good question. Send a cadre, reset, unit state, strat. Yeah, you can strat move it out of there. Okay. Now, what does it say? Is it 2 times? Just show me where it says it's 2 times. Restrictions. God damn it. Must move entirely along roads. Yeah, okay, no big deal. Each side. So I can use 3. I got that. And what is it, double? Oh, shit, come on. Yeah, the next unit's... Does it actually say what you get? Mechanize to double. All right, let's do this. So, what we're going to do is... This 316 right here, he is in Overcast, and let's see what his movement is on this primary road. Chart, terrain effects. I think he's a 2 in Overcast. Primary, it says 1-3, but B. German mechanized will for primary and clear Overcast. So it's 1/2. So this guy can go. I'm not going to use him as strat move. He's just going to go 6. So it's what? Half, 1, half, 2, half, 3, half, 4, half, 5, half, 6. All right, it's pretty damn good movement. So it's half, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's legit. That's legit. All right, let's bring these other guys. So this other guy can go 1 back, so that would be 5. And this character right here can jump on him because that's 5 as well. So they do that. By the way, I got to make sure I do my marked move so everybody is shown accurate. Okay, so put these guys on marked, moved. All right, they've moved. All right, cool. Yeah, so let's go ahead and... All right, so those guys are moved. They did not use strat movement. These guys down here, remember, you only get 3. And so these two characters, they cannot move together. Remove that. And what is it? You can't be adjacent to them? Is that what the deal is? Restrictions may not end their move stacked with any unit. Okay. A lot of times when you do this, you can't even be adjacent to one. But all right, we'll do one at a time. No big deal. We'll bounce this character. We'll go first, and he's gonna go. So that's a half. Now remember, he gets 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. A 5. Now I'm going to pretend that I move these guys first because he can't move through there, right? So I'm going to assume that I move these guys first prior to moving these other 3. Give myself a little mulligan right there so they're not entering a zone of somebody else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's just 5. He gets to go 5 more, and then we're going to... So I'm going to pretend I move these guys after the fact. I get 5 more. Shit. That's 6, 7. That security guy is 7. And it has to stay on a road. 8. All right. I'm just gonna do it to right there. Throw the unit state strat move on his ass and bring the other guy right behind him. All right, right behind him to right there. Strat move. Right, unit state. Strat move. Now the problem is we'll have to look at this later because I don't know Overcast 3. Now, what you're going to notice about that is, now I'm going to go ahead and fix this right here. The allies do have air units, 1 of 1, so they each get 1. And I don't know if I can do strafing. I'm going to look into that, but let me flip one of their air units over. Let me at least do that. Let me get the 1 allied air unit flipped over. Flip, that's 1 for the Americans, 1 for the Brits. Okay, that just popped into my brain cells. All right, I'm going to look at that. You know what? Screw it. Let's go ahead and look at it if I can do it right now. I don't know if I can. Strafing for strat move, guys. One moment. Your call's important to us. Advance after combat. Looking for that air power, air and naval support. Okay, hold on. Defensive air support, Jabos. No, that doesn't apply. Starting on turn 17, they can use. They can use 2. Okay, well, I ain't close. Now, strafing, 19.1.4. Strafing only occurs in the allied combat phase, so that's when it's their turn. Okay. And starting on turn 2 and continuation of the allied player receives air units according to the die roll on the weather table. They each get 1. You can use for offensive support. So you can get offensive support, strafing, or defensive support. Defensive is, oh, that's only on clear weather. So you gotta know your air for the Allies here. So that's only on clear weather for Javos. Okay, during a German player turn, and it's not clear. And then strafing is during the Allied turn, Allied combat phase, and then you have offensive support. So this is not a hard game, but there's a lot of little shit, Chrome, that, and I just highlighted that with you got to know three different types of air support. So, and when you can use them. So I'm going to put that on the back burner right now, and we'll go back to our chart and keep it moving because I got a lot of German units I got to move. So it's German replacement. We did all that German movement, and now I brought their reinforcements in. Let's go ahead, and now you really have to remember about reserves. Okay, if you want to place somebody in reserves, probably not a good time for the Germans to do that now, but it's something that you need to know how to use your reserves in this game. All right, let me get back into this. So I'm going to move all the way to the east again, and remember, you got a couple of blue guys up here. All right, and then these the red diamonds, they had the movement is in black. I believe that's for the first turn, restricted movement. They couldn't move on turn one, and let me just double check that if it's easy. Restricted movement. Do we have anything that says anything about that? If this is a hassle to find, dude, I'm pretty sure the black ones mean no movement on turn one. And if it's a hassle to find, use blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. Tactical bicycle. Yeah, German. Yeah, I can't find it. I think they can't move on turn one. Let me go to where they show all the units and see if they show that, like on page 2 or 3, what the black means on movement. And yeah, here it does say that, and a movement allowance in black box indicates unit cannot move until released 17.6. That's something entirely different. Okay. Units with a black box, 17.6. Units with a black box around their MA cannot move unless released. They are released if at the start of the German movement phase on turn 2 or later, an allied unit is within 2 hexes. Huh. Okay, I'm glad I got that right. So they got to be within 2 hexes. All these units with the up here on this side of Con, within 2 hexes of an allied unit, which is not the case. Oh, by the way, as I'm looking at up here, the glider brigades, look at this shit. These are 2 units. Arrives in the initial phase of turn 2. So these guys should have already arrived. There's 2 of them, 1 American, 1 Brit. So let's move them because we're past the initial phase of turn 2. See what I mean by all the shit is these concepts are not hard, but it's just so much shit coming at you from different directions. All right, let's move him down here. It's his landing zone right here. Excellent, and that kind of puts these other paras in really good. It strengthens their supply situation. And then way over here, the American unit, 101st, I think. There's a 101st right here, but also right here. Oh, 82nd. All right, 82nd, and somehow he moves in next to this Ost right here. Cool in the gang. All right, that was the initial phase, so that should have already been done. Let's go back to the eastern part of the map and keep playing. So the black boxes can't move. No allied unit is within 2 hexes of them. All right, that's awesome. So we'll get these guys in. So they get to move. Is it 6? Like this guy right here off map. He is charts terrain effects on. Is it a half for non-mechanized on roads? Yes, it is. Indeed, it is. So he can go 6. Well, let's do it. Half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 6. And this character is a bicycle. Is that that's not bicycle? That is like motorized infantry, right? Motorized infantry with 2 dots on the bottom. Yeah, motorized infantry, and that is mechanized. All right, so he is mechanized, and he gets to go. That would be 10 on a road. Half, 1, half, 2, half, 3. Half to right there. He'll go right there. And now this headquarters. Let's take. Dude, I still don't know what that 0 means. I got to figure out what the heck. Anybody watching this who knows what the 0 means on the German headquarters? Either way, I'm going to flip him and move him 5. Let's unit state now. Flip to move side. Now you can go. I assume that the 5. Well, wait a minute. The 5 is. Isn't that his range? That's the 5. So what is movement on artillery? We gotta get the definitive word on this. We gotta get because the 5 is the range. What the F is the 0? I don't know. Hold on a second. Artillery. Artillery. Why is there no shit? All right, I'm just gonna have to like go back in time here and just where do I see artillery units? This is huge. HQs. Okay, so provide a modifier on isolation, attrition, free stacking, cannot attack, cannot be the lead unit, may not advance a range. Okay, so they have a range of 5 hexes. I'm assuming that's what the 5 means. And okay, artillery shifts face up this route, blah 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 blah. Each supply point expended, blah 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 blah. What about friggin' artillery movement? HQ, its own hex. It was attacked with a unit, blah 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 blah. Okay, page 17. By the way, I got the 2nd edition here. Units, HQ units cannot move more than 1 hex and provide artillery ships as. Okay. Or so it's HQ units that are forced to retreat or that move more than 1 hex must flip to their move side. Okay. Does that not tell me what their movement limit is if you flip them over? Okay, let's do it like this, bro. I don't know. Let's flip him back. And just 1 hex. All right. I don't know what. First of all, is it clear what they can move? I'm assuming if you flip them over that they're mechanized and they're like, I don't even know, bro, because the 1 is the combat, 5 is the range, what the F is the 0, and oh shit. So unit state flip to move side. Yeah, but how far can you move them? I'm gonna say it's 5. It's mechanized 5 because if you're on the move side, that's not the range, right? Wouldn't that be movement points? Let's see if anybody's chimed in on this shit. Two people, no, or maybe not even be watching. I'm going to assume that I can move him five. So that's one, two. Let's put him in this town right here. All right, and I flipped him so he's of no use to us. All right, anyway, so that's those guys right there, and everything from the east side of the map has been moved, and now we get to the good shit. All right. Yeah, all right. So let's do some. By the way, how long is this video already? I don't even know. Oh, 35 minutes. Okay, so let's see what we can do. All right. We want to attack these paras. But if you attack that 5-3, man, that's going to be massive. Yeah. This guy right here can actually move. Notice that he doesn't have from the 7th to 11th, the 7-Eleven open 24 hours. This guy right here does not have a black thing. He's going to go one hex to right there. Okay, that kind of puts a little pressure on that unit. So why don't we just attack him? Remember, he's in a forest, woods, and his DRM is +3, but I don't think your DRM can exceed your own defense strength. Let's see if that is the case. I don't want to assume that. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like 90% sure. Your DRM. Let's see if we can find this easily. If it's some damn thing where they make it really hard to find. Let's go to DRMs. Retreat and disruption. No, I think I blew past the combat results. Combat. Defensive combat bonuses. The strength additions. They're per hex. Okay. Okay, there it is. The DCB for a defender can never exceed the printed combat strengths of the defender's stack, ignoring all blah 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 blah. Okay, that's cool. So that makes sense. They have a 2. Woods is 3, but you can only his strength is going to be a 4, and we will go ahead and set up an attack. These two guys are not going to move. They're not going to move. But what you can do is, and I can't really, this guy could jump on top of these two. He could jump on top of those two. You can't have, oh, I read some crazy thing that only tiger tanks can have an armored shift in woods. Why would that be? Tiger tanks? Did I read that shit right? Charts? Terrain effects. In the fine print T down here, if you look at woods, no. Armor shift possible for attacker? No. With a T, and I read the T. Tiger tanks get a shift in woods, cities, and against improved positions. Okay. Woods? Why would they? Why? So a panther can't get a shift in woods, but a tiger can. Okay. Who knows? Who knows? But that is the case. It's not applicable here anyway. What if I did this? What if this guy moved here? Because they've got he's worth a 4, and I could get a 9. But if I move this guy, I get a 12. And yes, let's move him into here. Zoc to Zoc. Let's move, and he is a silhouette, so it can be done. All right. All right, so what am I going to do here? You get strat moves. Remember, you get this unit from the 21st down here. Remember, in turn 1, they could only move 3 movement points. So let's see if we could move. We do need to move him up. He has to move up. And we're going to do that. Half, 1, half, 2, half, 3, have to right there. Yes, absolutely. He's got to go right there. It's imperative that he moves right there. Now you got these disrupted guys. What do we know about disruption? They can only do tactical movement. All right, that's I'm like 99% sure about that. That disrupted can only do tactical movement, and they are obligated to move away from the enemy. Now that I'm assuming that's how it is in other of Mark's games. Let's see what disrupt. Let's kick it on over to disruption and just verify that. That's like one of those things that are easy to find. Disruption. I say that as I can't find it. So we'll go to. I just want to verify that I have to. I'm obligated to move away, being disrupted from the enemy. Combat modifiers. Hold on. Disruption effects. Where are you, bro? I'm saying how easy it is to find, and I can't find it. All right, retreat and disruption 13. What are the effects of disruption? Here it is. Movement. They must use tactical. I knew that. Any is noted by placing blah 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 headquarters on their move side is no further. This unit, disrupted unit is forced to retreat again. Disrupted are penalizing the following movement. They must use tactical. I knew that. They may not attack or be the lead unit in determined defense. Okay, can't. May not begin construction of an improved position. Disrupted may not provide. Okay, replacements may not receive replacements. Okay, hold on a second. Disrupted units retain their full defense strength, TQ, blah 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 blah, and ability to form Zoc bots. Disruptors may enter. God damn it! In the recovery. Okay, maybe they have this in. Let's try movement because it doesn't say it here. It doesn't say I have an obligation to move away from the enemy. Let's go to movement. Now that is something in some of his games. Shit. Movement. That's kind of a huge deal. Movement. All this shit is movement. Truck markers, strategic restrictions. Blah 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 blah. It doesn't say that I do have to move away from the enemy if you're disrupted. I'm going to check that one more time, bro. That's something that is like, yeah, you got to get this right. You got to get this right. Disruption. Damn it. Retreat and disruption. Units retreat 4 hexes. C1 hex retreat. A unit that retreats 2 or 4 it must end its retreat. Ezox. If possible, avoid. Okay, retreat and disruption. But I guess we're talking about retreat right now. These are retreats. 1 hex retreats. Combat against disruption and their. The retreat and disruption. Okay, that's retreats. That's 1 hex retreats, unfulfilled retreats, previously retreat, disruption in the recovery phase. I feel like this could be written better. Any of the retreats becomes disrupted. And just. They must use Okay, disrupted units are penalized. They must use tactical movement. I knew that. They may not attack or be the lead unit. IPs may not begin IPs disrupted or may not. Disrupted units retain their full defensive ATQ, the ability to form Zoc bonds. This may enter an EZOC. Okay, right there. Disrupted units may enter an EZOC. Well, I guess if you can enter one, okay, you're not obligated to move away from the enemy if you're in one. Okay, and some of them, I think Ukraine 43 and A44, you might have to. All right, that settles it. Where right there it says disrupted units may enter an EZOC. All right, fine. So this dude right here is not going to move back. And that was what prompted that whole shit fest right there. All right, so he's going to stay right there. However, when here's the thing though about that, when you go to recovery phase, if you're not adjacent to the enemy, it comes off immediately. But if you are adjacent to the enemy, I think you got to roll a die. Again, that's something common in Mark's others games. I can't assume that that's the. Let's look at recovery and see if that's still the case. Recovery. Can I find recovery easily? Shit, dude. I'm just. There's so much shit in this game. And I guess the biggest problem is you're assuming, you know, if you just played one of his other games, man, that can throw you for a loop. How about this? 13.6, disruption in the recovery phase. Any unit that retreats becomes disrupted in blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, combat. Okay, we went through all this shit. Disrupted units may. Okay, what about recovery? Where the F is recovery? Can I go to the index and get recovery? How do you pull these off? Recovery. This is why I hate indexes, man. Something like that is not listed. Oh, actually, it is 13.6. My bad. 13.6. Oh, I just read it. Disruption and recovery. So what about pulling? Oh, recovery. In the phasing player's recovery phase, remove the disrupted markers from all friendly units. So it's not like if you're not adjacent to the enemy, you just pull it off. But if you are adjacent to the enemy, you roll a 1 to 3 or a 4 to 6 will determine whether you can take that off. All right, my bad. This is like different from other games, but all right, this guy's going to stay right here. He's got the allies jammed up. He can't attack, and he's sitting on a strong point. Let's just stay right here. We're finally making some headway. This dude right here, what's his deal? What is he? Anti-tank. So it would be really cool if we could get an infantry unit up there, like the security guy. Let's move. Well, actually, let's move the 435 up. Yeah, John, how are you going to do that? First of all, before we move this 435, let's figure out what we're going to do with this guy. Now look at him. He's Zoc bonded. He's got a problem. He's got a big problem, actually. Shit. These guys are strong right here. They're a 4, so what? They're a 9? Is that what it is? No, 8. 3 is 11 plus 2 for being on mixed would be 13. How in the F are we've got to save these 2 units. Shit. Wow. That's a problem. And the only unit I have available to do that is, and I had this guy, but he really needs to sit right there. Yeah. I brought him up from down here. He really needs to sit in that spot. Um, yeah, that's a problem. I know he was right here. This guy was right here. He needs to move one hex. I could possibly, what if I get 4 and 3 together? That's 7. But I can use con-based artillery. Can I? Yeah, you're 3 hexes away. Let's do that. Let's do it. So I had moved this guy here. He's gonna join this. So let's get this guy out. He's got 5 movement points. He's gonna go half, 1, 1.5 right there. And this character's got 5 on a road. So this was his original starting point. He's gonna go half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3 to right there. We'll put him on the bottom. So 21st is going to try to work with these guys to get them out of here because there is a Zoc bond between these two. And frankly, if these guys don't get out of here now, this turn, they're probably going to be kaput. And we can use con-based artillery. We are 3 hexes away from this guy right here. Let's go ahead and show the artillery range. Yeah, he's good. He's good. We'll back that off. All right, so I think we've reached a point where we can set up a couple of attacks. This is going to be attack A. And let's go ahead and set up a couple of attacks. All right, we're overdue here. So let's I'm not going to do the actual attacks. Well, maybe I might, but let's see. I got to get moving here. I got like maybe another half hour that I'm allowed to play before wifey comes home. Anyways, enough of that. So let's go with combat. Combat. Letters A attack is going to be these two against this guy, and my little arrows are going to be northeast arrow right here. I don't know the odds yet right there, but I don't really care about that right now. This is going to be letter attack B. This is going to be a hard attack right here. We'll use him, and we'll use him, and we're actually going to put a B right here for con-based artillery. And let's just use the arrows for northeast and southeast. All right, and that's going to be attack B and con-based artillery. That's going to be a difficult attack, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's do that. But this is these guys' only chance to get out of the fire right there. Okay, so disrupted 2-3. I think I'd move him back to Bayou. I would really, but he's got a little water here, but that disrupted marker will come off, so let's keep him right there. But what about this guy? You can move him up actually, or how about this? Do you want to move him into Bayou? He's a replacement. Do you want to move him into Bayou or move him to the east to help this? 1, 2. He can't get over there to help that battle. That's not going to happen. But you can move him into Bayou. What I would do with him actually don't forget about these 2 bicycle guys you got coming up. All right, so move this guy over here. 1, 2, 3, 2.5, whatever. He makes it. Is that what you want to do? Yeah, you don't want to go on clear terrain if you can help it. I tell you what. Yeah, let's keep him right there. Now don't forget these 2 bicycle guys. Now they're a half on roads, right? But in overcast, hold on overcast there's 6. Well, that's where we kick it back to movement, because we just did this last turn. Movement with the bicycle guys. Movement, bicycle. Bicycle units are treated as non-mechanized combat for all purposes. During overcast weather, they may increase their shit to 6 if they do not start or enter an EZOC. And they got it only along roads. You cannot enter an EZOC. That's the problem with that. All right, no problem. No problem. You cannot enter an EZOC. But you all right. Well, I think maybe what you should do, since let's think about this, dude. Let's think about this. You've got 12th SS coming up into this general area. Okay, Tilly, Sir, whatever, Carpaquit. You've got 21st is going to come into this void right here. All right, so what I would do is maybe use these guys to thwart the Americans, who are looking pretty stout. They're off to a good start. Let's get into the bocage and help these guys. How about that? So that's half one. Right here. No, right here. He's going to go here. And this guy's going to go half one, half 2 to right there. Yeah, because the Americans are looking pretty stout. Okay, let's go. Let's kick it over to Omaha. Now remember, Ost can move this turn. These guys might want to. Yeah, shit. Shit, dude. I don't know what to do here. Let's look at swamp. Let's go to charts, terrain. What is the deal with swamp? Or what do they call it? They call it flooded hexside. Not a hexside. It's not a hexside. It's marsh. P, prohibited. You can't get into it. Is that what marsh is? That shit right there? Yeah. No, wait a minute. Marsh, or is that? God damn it! I gotta pull a card out to see what that is. I gotta make sure I know what marsh is, and for that, or actually, do they have an example on the map itself? Sometimes they have an example on the map itself. I gotta know what marsh is, man. Okay, hold on. This is where I've got to know the terrain for this shit. All right, here it is down here. So what is marsh? Marsh is that shit. Okay, so that's a flooded hex. All right, flooded hex. Good to know. All right, back over here. Flooded. That's a flooded hex. Now let's look at charts. Combat results, not terrain. A flooded hex, not hexside. It's plus 2 points and you stop. If you're mechanized, you can't even get into that. 2+ and you stop. So this mechanized, the flat, can't even get into it. All right. Do these guys hold their position? What do they do? All right, so he's gonna go here. The mechanized is gonna go. That's 1 + 1 is 2. 3, 4. 5, right? So leaving a zone of control. That's a half. So that's 2, 3 to where Oast is, 4 here, and that's 5 right there. Okay, and this guy moved back 1 from here. Okay, I can get on this bus now. This 352nd. I think it's time for you to bounce, dude. Let's bounce. So you're gonna go 1, 2 to go here, and then eat a half. You're gonna kick it to right there. All right, so the Americans are sprung out of Omaha, no doubt about that. They're sprung. Any chance of holding them back is not going to happen. All right. Um all right, over to Utah. Let's see if we can slow these characters down. Let's see what we got going on. So, Oast can move, and it's an intersecting Zokbon. I believe I can move him here. The Zokbon is broken, intersecting Zokbon. Do I have that right? I believe I do. We'll put him on top. Those guys are just going to hold that position. And wow, look at this shit. So this guy's going to come down half. Look at that. Wow. And if we could get some armor in here, which I do believe we can, some of this little shit armor, we could attack those guys. Let's go ahead and do that. Now, I know he can't cross, but he can go mechanized on terrain, is probably mechanized on bocage, is just 1. So he can go 1 plus leaving a Zoc is 2, 3 to right there. Wow. This dude will bounce to right here. That's a good place to be. These two characters will sit right there. We might be able to get an attack on him. It is armor. And he is outside the naval bombardment zone, which is, well, they may be able, I don't know what the hell. Maybe they can attack him, whatever. And can the Germans get artillery? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe they can. And here's another armored unit. They got to bring in one of these little guys right here. Remember, they start on turn 2. Release 1 per on turn 2. 3606. Where's that? 3606. What? 3708. How about 3708 or 3712? Right here. Okay, let's bring him down. So he's going to go half, 1, half, 2, half, 3. And now this guy can come down. He's going to go just right here and right here to Monteborg. All right, and then we can release one guy from these characters right here, 243, and he comes on at 3302 or 33. How's 3302 sound? 3302 right here. That works for me. And where's the rest of his peeps at? I want to keep them. Yeah, one of his guys is way over here, so he's going to move 1, 2, 3. And then this armor is going to kick it half, 1, half, 2, half, 3 to right there. All right, so the Germans are starting to get it. Can we say they're getting it together? I do not know. Yeah, you could kind of say that. All right, so where do we stand right now? We got, what is it? Is it 3 attacks? Let me set up that last attack. It's just going to be the 3rd attack. Get a combat, blah, 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 blah. Letters is just going to be C attack. We're not doing anything at Omaha. 82nd here and here, and I'm going to put this here. So we're going to have artillery from this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can do that. We'll put our little arrows southeast, southwest, and east. All right, cool in the game. All right, let me look back at the sequence of play. I don't want to miss anything before we move on to these few combats. And come on, bro, where are we? Germans, movement, IPs, no. Start building IPs, no. May move all some. Reserve, not maybe when 12th SS gets there, over there. German combat phase, supply puts, okay. German player removal, okay, blah, 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 blah. All right, let's do the 3 attacks. We're going to move all the way to the other end right here. Okay, let's do this attack. So we know the defender is 4. Okay, and these two are 21st Panzer Division, so we know that they're both part of the map, so they get a 9. Okay, a 9. So it's 9-4. That's 2-1. They both have TQs of 1, so it's 2-1. 2-1. What am I missing? You cannot have an armored shift in there. That unit is capable of an armored shift at 316, but you cannot unless you're a Tiger tank. I don't know how that works. But are we going to use con-based artillery 3 hexes away? 1, 2, 3. Let's see if on a woods can you even do that. I wonder if there's anything about that in woods attacking. Armored shift, no, unless you've got a... But can you use con... It doesn't say. I guess you can use con-based artillery. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's move the supply point down for 7th Army. Right? They go from 5 to 4. All right, cool. And let's do this again. So what do we have? We have, again, it's 9-4, which is 2-1, plus con-based artillery is 3-1. We do have a possible air situation, and there's 3 different things, so I always have to go back to the air because there's 3 different air activities that you could possibly do. Offensive air support, so that's obviously not the case. Defensive jobos, that's only clear weather. Strafing, it only cares the Allied, blah, 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 blah. Or instead are non-woods. So strafing is something that you do in the Allied combat phase. Alright, so that's... Can't do any of those. Can't do any of those. Defensive air support job was only in clear weather. Alright, so again, let's just look at the DCBs, because they're both plus 1s, and we're gonna get this attack done. Right now it's 3-1. Defensive combat bonuses. Armor shift, defender shift, armor rating, no. Anti-tank, no. Alright, no. Troop quality, they're both plus 1s. Artillery shifts, yes, 3-1 for the Germans. HQ, 2 shifts, no, they're only going to do 1. Defensive support. Hilltops, Tiger tanks, terrain, and armor shift. Alright, so it's a 3-1 attack. Let me just put this shit right here. So the odds, I'm just going to throw the odds right. Come on, bro. 3-1. Grab them right here. Let's go ahead and roll this 3-1 attack. I'm gonna bring up the chart, which you can't see at home. 3 to 1. Here's the roll. It's a 4 on 3 to 1, which is DR. Interesting. So the DR, determined defense. What is Woods? Woods is other. Okay, so do they want to? They would have a real problem retreating. Okay, so these guys, I think, really need to do a determined defense. I mean, he could move in with his buddies right here. That would be, but he's not moving further away. Let's try to do a determined defense. He's in other, and he's going to use naval support. However, the Germans are not within the naval support boundary. They're just out of that. So, I mean, you can do determined defense, but dude, you cannot use naval support as a modifier because you're just outside the limit. Um, uh, Defensive support +1. You can't use naval. Can you use air? Again, here we are. Defensive air support, Jabos, clear weather. Wait a minute. Yeah, defensive, the Jabos table, clear weather, can't do it. Offensive air support, nope. And strafing, that nope. Naval support, you can't do it. So you can do a determined defense, but it's going to be straight up. Let's go ahead and do it. They're going to do a determined defense. Here's the roll. You want to roll high, I guess. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's look at one hex retreats before we roll this shit and kill the guy. Hold on a second. Let me check out one hex retreats. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Your call is important to us. One hex retreats. Okay, I got to get into the fine print here. One hex, a 2 hex retreat, which is this is what this is, can end after only 1 hex if the retreating unit or stack retreats to a city, town, woods, bocage, or a hex that contains a strong point or improved position, which I don't think he has any of these available to him. However, hold on. And it goes on to say a hex that contains a non-disrupted friendly unit not using strat move can also stop a 2 hex retreat after 1 hex. But the number of combat factors they may stop is limited to the number of non-disrupted combat factors in the hex. So theoretically, this guy could retreat to him, but is it following the other rules for retreat? Like, are you moving? Do you have to move farther away or whatever? Um, a unit that retreats 2 or 4 hexes must end its retreat 2 or 4 hexes away from the hex it occupied. So I don't think that in this case, because you didn't move farther away, dude. If the allied player unit was in 2232, I think we'd be in business. Because it does say that a unit that retreats 2 or 4 hexes must end its retreat 2 or 4. Okay, but you're not retreating 2 or 4 hexes. You're doing a 1 hex retreat. So let's read 13.3 again. A 2 hex retreat can end after only 1 hex if the retreating unit blah 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 that contains non-disrupted friendly units can also stop at 2. But the number of restrict units that retreat 1 hex may not end their retreat in an EZOC unless a friendly, non-disrupted unit is already in that hex. Okay. Overstack direction. The OD player may determine the path of retreat is not in the direction of the supply. The only reason is that. See, my problem with this is I think he has to move away from that attacker one hex. And right here, he's not moving away. That's my only problem with this shit. Retreats 2 or 4 hexes much. A unit that retreats 2 or 4 hexes possible avoid Ezox if possible avoid entering the first hex. If not possible, the first hex of a retreat may enter a Ezox as long as blah 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 blah. Dude, I this could go either way. I don't know the rule with this right here. Um, shit. I don't know. So you know what? He's gonna do a determined defense. Let's do the determined defense. Even though this could be a problem. I don't think you could do that. Like if this guy was here, it'd be no problem. But this guy, he's not moving away. In effect, he's not moving one hex. I'm gonna do the determined defense. Here's the roll. Roll high. He does roll high. It's a 6. Okay. So it's an exchange, but the retreat is canceled. Problem is, this dude's gonna go to Cadre. Uh-oh. I think he's gonna die. He can't go to Cadre, and he can't lose a step. He doesn't have a step to lose. So this guy is going to be dead. Send a Cadre box, but also the other guys. It's an exchange, and it's the defender's choice. It's an exchange. Defender's lead unit loses 1 step, and okay. Well, we know that para is gone. Loses 1 step, and any one attacking unit in the map, defender's choice, loses 1 step. What is this guy a 1 step? The 316? No, he's not a 1 stepper, so we'll hit him. Lose step. Okay. I don't even feel like I want to advance. I don't want to advance. You've got help coming from that direction. This 2-3 can move in there next turn. I don't even feel like I want to advance. But you know something for the nah, dude. No, that's a Zokbon. He can't move in there. I'm not gonna advance. All right, we killed him. All right, let's go to attack. Let's go to attack B. This is going to be harder for the Germans. So what is the defender? Defender's unmixed, which is a +2. So he's a 4. He's a 4. And he's a 3. So that's 11. +2 is 13. It's friggin' 13. 13. And you're attacking with 7 and 4 is 11. So you're losing 1 just on ratio. And then the armor is the same, so you can't even get an armor shift. It's 3s all around. What about +1? Can you get, what is you're attacking with the 0, and these guys are 0, so there's no TQ thing. So you're down 1 on ratio, and but you're going to use con-based artillery. So let's go up to the track and knock 7th Army down 1 to 3. Okay, and so that's what it is. Is this a friggin' 1-to-1 attack, dude? Is there, you know what? You're going to go 2. Can you go 2 on con-based artillery? Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. It's just artillery support, 11-6. Let's see if you can do 2. This is the time to do 2 if you can do it. Face up, in supply, non-disrupted. Where for blah 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 blah. The Germans are limited to 2 artillery shifts per attack. Oh, all right. I can't in this situation. I can't. I'd have to use 2 headquarters. The con-based artillery, I can only use 1. So you're looking at you're down. You're on a 1-2 attack, but with con-based artillery, you can get it to 1-1. Ooh, and I don't even have an armor shift, bro. This is gonna be rough. This is gonna be rough. A 1-1 attack. Ouch, babe. You have to do it because these 2 units are going to get smoked if you do not get them out of there. You got to roll high, okay? You got to roll high, Germans. Here you go. And they roll a goddamn 6. A 6 on 1-1 is DR. Holy shit, dude. They roll a DR. So obviously they're going to use a determined defense. That was amazing. That was amazing. That they roll a 6 on 1-1, so that's DR. But we're gonna do a determined defense here, and the that stack of units is sitting on other, which is mixed, right? That is correct, and they're gonna use naval gunfire. A naval shift right here. So they're going to flip over the warspite, flip, and so they get a naval modifier on this because all the German units are within the bombardment zone of the naval units. So this is a big, huge roll right here. DRMs, lead unit CQ or armor rating, nope. Defensive support, +1 maximum for naval. All right, so here is the other, and the Germans want the Allies to roll low. Here we go. They roll a goddamn 6 plus a 1 is 7. Holy shit, and that comes AL. Any one attacking unit, attacker's choice, and not necessarily loses 1 step. Oh, shit. They thought they had those guys out of there. So it's a 7. It's a 6 plus the 1 for the naval bombardment is an AL, anyone attacking unit, attacker's choice, and not necessarily from the map. Well, since they're going to lose these guys anyway, they might bounce one of them out of here. 2-4, 2-3. Keep him in case he somehow lives. Alright, send a cadre box. Holy shit. Okay, so these guys, the retreat is canceled. That attack is why I play this game, dude. That was amazing. The Germans had to roll high. They throw a 6. This dude is like, I'm going to do a determined defense. And with a naval DRM, he hits a 6, bounces up to 7. The Germans lose. One of the shit units are going to lose because he's lock bonded out. That was amazing. That's why I play this shit, dude. That was amazing. All right, let's go up to the last attack. That was amazing. All right, so this one's kind of a ho-hum attack on this 82nd Airborne right here, trying to figure this shit out. All right, so the Defender, I believe, is a 6. Let's bring out the chart for terrain effects. He is a 3 on defense, and Bocage does give you a 3. An armor shift is possible, so he's a 6. Now, these guys, we have to figure out what this 4-3 is, crossing this, looks like a flooded hexi. He's probably going to be halved. Back to the charts. Hold on. Oh, that's combat table. Back to the charts. Terrain effects, flooded hexide. Flooded hexide. Attacker have +1 IL. Well, what does that mean? The shift IL only applies if all units in the map are attacking across, but they're not. Because this guy right here and this dude under here are 91st, so obviously the 91st is the MAV and the armor isn't attached to the MAV. So just this dude, he's going to be attacker have flooded hexide, but it would be no column shift. Okay, so the total is he's going to be a 2. That's 2, 4. That guy is 4 is 8 plus 2 for the armor is 10 to 6. That's 1 to 1. All right, flip this character. He's going to a fire mission and he does reach. Okay, and let's flip. Let's take a point from these guys. Where the hell are they? They're the Cherbourg peeps. They go down to 3. All right. So we have our artillery. Okay, on this fight, which is going to be a +1. Plus we have an armored ship. But the problem is the American paras are +1 on TQ, bro. So let's figure all this shit out. Let me go ahead and take that off. Uh-oh. Yeah, right there. All right, flip him. Wait a minute. You got to flip him. Flip to move side. He fired whatever the hell it is. You used him, right? Right? You used him. Fire mission. All right. Okay, we know we're using him. So again, it's 1 to 1 on ratio. We have armor and artillery, makes it 3 to 1, but we lose 1 on TQ, makes it 2 to 1. Am I right? 2 to 1. 2 to 1. Let's go ahead and roll the 2 to 1. Get that chart up, the comment, and this is the last battle for this. 2 to 1. Here's the roll. They get a 2 on 2 to 1. That can't be good. A1DR. A1DR, and it's got to come from the MAV. So, shit. I think it's got to come from. It's got to come from this guy. Lose a step. All right, so A1, now DR. Is this guy going to retreat? And he doesn't give a shit. He'll retreat. Or do you want to hold that? No. You don't want to take a hit, dude. Retreat 2 to 4. He's going to go here. That's an Azok, but moving here would have been an Azok as well. So he's going to go here and then down to here. And he's going to throw on the old disruption. Unit state. Disrupted. Okay. No big deal. Do we want to advance? I believe we do want to advance. And he's going to advance. And he's going to advance. All right, kind of a good thing for the Germans. That was a good attack. They lost a step. But they now control one more step on the side of that flooded hexide. So that's pretty good. Let's go back here. Got 2 people watching at an hour and a half. Got to wrap this up. Okay, anyways, yeah, we do have to wrap this up. Wifey's going to be home in a minute. You know what? I have to do something. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Okay, I'm back. We're going to wrap this up. So that is amazing. So we're going to do, I believe we just got to do recovery here, and then we can just take a quick look at what's been accomplished this turn. This turn has been like, that second attack was bananas. All right, so what we have is we're going to go in a recovery phase. We're going to take all these markers off, and then we got to check supply, blah, 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 and start right to left. We'll start east to west on recovery. What a friggin' turn, dude. All right, let's go through here. Let's take these off, this off, this off, and this off, and delete. Okay. Disrupted. Apparently, this comes off no matter what. Like in Mark's other games, if you're adjacent to the enemy, you got to roll to see if disrupted comes off. Not in this one. Delete. Okay. This disruption comes off. Delete. We'll take this B off of here. And the strats are going to come off, but are they? I think the strats stay on. The strats will stay on because we may have possibly strafing, possibly, I don't know. Leave the strats on. This B, oh, that was amazing, that attack, dude. That was friggin' amazing. All right, he goes here, he goes here. The Brits hang tough. They hang tough. They determined defense, dude. They hang tough, and this guy's he's gonna be bumming because of that. But whatever. All right, so this disrupted comes off. This replacement comes off. What an attack! All right, and let's go a little lower down here. Make sure we got everything. All right, moving west. They didn't attack around Omaha. They just tried to set up a better defensive perimeter. You can see that. So anything got to come off over here. Moving right along. That disrupted stays. All this other bullshit can come off. Bing. Bang. Boom. The Germans get moderate success. Moderate success over there. Moving that para out, you could call it. All right. Any other shit needs to come off. All right. So let's talk about what happened here. And June 7th, 1944. Let's talk about it. So you've seen some of these blue guys come in, the T2 346 division. They just kind of moving in. The ones with the black movement boxes, unless the Allies get it within 2 hexes, they can't move. They killed a small para in that woods right there. I don't think it would have been legal to move into that 5-3 for a 1 hex retreat because I think you're obligated to move away from the attacker. If somebody cites me a rule that shows me I'm wrong in that regard, I'll be more than happy to look at that. So the Germans expended quite a few. I think they used like 2 con-based artillery. They almost had these guys to retreat, almost, but didn't happen. So this 2-4 is not long for this world. And that's what they've done. Let's see how now the Brits are poised to exploit. These guys are poised to break out. Plus they can bring all this shit down. So they're poised to do some work. And they've got these guys on clear terrain, which could be problematic. But then again, they've got 1 hex to really do something because 12th SS will be in this sector come next turn. So let's see how good the Germans could hold on. If they could have got this guy out and made this guy disrupted, that would have been a big deal, but it just wasn't meant to be. They hold on to Bayal. When did Bayal fall? Let's go look at the chart. Bayal fell on... Was it June 7th? Yeah, June 7th. Well, they still have time. The Allies do to take Bayal on June 7th. We'll see what happens. The Americans, the Germans pulled back they didn't want to do an attack. They pulled back to probably better defensive terrain. You see that they're moved into the bocage here and here. Okay, and yeah, so that's what they're trying to do. I thought they're going to do an attack on this guy, but they decided not to do that. And then we moved to this sector right here. And these guys, they got this guy disrupted. He retreated twice. They moved him onto a flooded hex side. Probably a good move. And that's where it is right there, dude. Let's back out. Let's back out. Look at the whole damn thing. Okay, I'll just give you the big picture. All right, there you go right there. Americans looking to break out for sure. I think it all depends on what these Brits can do. Here, Canadians, here and here. What they can do versus these guys till 12th SS sets up shop in this area. And what do the Germans have for con-based artillery? They are sitting at 3. Okay. Brits don't really have anything in sword though. They got a cadre right here. They've got that unit here, so they really don't have shit here. They're coming around over in this area. That's gonna be a good move in this pair right here. 12th SS. I don't know if they can strafe these strat movement guys, but hey, thanks for the 3 people that showed up to watch tonight for an hour and a half. That was amazing. I gotta go. It's 20 minutes to 9 East Coast, and I gotta do back to my stupid job, pointless job tomorrow. I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow night. Definitely not Tuesday, but we'll see you then for the Allied June 7th turn, all right? I'm out. All right, guys. Ciao. Bye-bye.